Welcome back to episode 5 of Friday Sews. I hope you all had a lovely Easter. I did do a little bit of filming over Easter that I'm going to be showing you in this video because I basically got my Easter box out of the loft, all these things I've made, and I put it all out over the table. And my husband had been outside and he came back in and he said it looks like Easter has threw up all over the table. So I managed to tidy up the table because I had all my calligraphy things on it, and my husband had all wires and soldering iron, and I've actually had to tidy away my sewing machine that I've been sewing on, and just to get all the Easter things out. And my sewing machine isn't back out again yet at this present moment in time, but I have been doing some hand stitching and I have been doing some other kind of sewing anyway because I've got a machine in here. So don't worry, there is sewing to see in this video today. So what am I going to talk about first? Now, what I'll do is the footage that I've done, I'm going to pop that in now for you to watch. So I'll be back in a minute. Right, I've got all my Easter things out and I'm about to start decorating. I'm going to walk you through some of these things here. So here, this bunting, you may recognise this bunting that says Happy Easter. I made that during lockdown, early lockdown last year, and I was having trouble getting the supplies, so you probably remember that. If you've been watching me recently, you'll have seen that I've been making these domes. I'm going to hang them on my tree that's sitting here. You see this branch here in a moment. I just put that on the end of my last video because I'd made that when I'd finished the video, but it was too late to film, so that's my most recent one. And I think, oh no, that's my most recent one. I did that last night. So that's just a shop bought item. I've got a few of those in my craft room, so if I need to fill up my tree, I can add to that. In here, these sheep head are knitted. This egg are knitted. That's an Arnie and Carlos design, and I knitted 3 of these little bunnies for my boys, but I can only see one at the moment. That's like a shop bought decoration. Now this cross here is crocheted. My lovely friend Julie, she lives just behind me, she crocheted that for me, and I get that out every year. Oh, and that I crocheted that egg. That might have been last year or the year before, I can't remember. I definitely shared that on a video. Let's go over to this basket. That little chicken I crocheted one year. I think everything else is shop bought here. Everything here is shop bought. It's just basically hanging decorations. These things and these things are what you fill up and you put in your garden and do like Easter egg hunts and things. And there's some chick ones here as well. And the same here. These are buckets that my mum has done in the past and filled them up for Easter. And these are basically eggs that you fill up with things and put them around the garden for Easter egg hunts. Basically, this sheep is a pom-pom body, and I actually, it looks crocheted, but I think I actually did that on a knitting loom, from what I remember. I can't quite remember actually, I've had it years. But I've got another sheep that I've made here. Well, a lamb. I love this lamb. I got this out of a magazine, the pattern for this lamb, and he's crocheted, got lovely big eyes. I think he's like a Japanese kind of inspired. Some people did think he was a bunny, and I suppose I could understand that bunny look. These are very early knits of mine. Yeah, very early knits when I kind of got back into knitting. But these are the kind of things I made when I'd only really done straight knitting, and this is when I started to get a little bit better. That's a tin from Marks and Spencer's that I got full of eggs one year. These are these little pyramids I made one year. They're a Gale pan design, do you know, daisy chain designs, and you put little eggs in them. I did like a Peter Pan fabric with that one, and I've got some more over here. This is my favourite. I love this one. This fabric is what I had left over from, if I take you over here, this bunny. this massive bunny. This is Owl and the Sewing Cat pattern, but I use my own supplies. This grey fabric is what somebody gave me, and I got loads of makes out of it. And then I bought the this fabric, and then I went to a sewing shop. I've only been there, I think, maybe once, and it was called the Bramble Patch. It's about an hour away for me, and it was around about Easter time, and there was demoing making carrots, so I bought some orange fabric and I made 2 carrots and put it in her pockets. Now this bunny is the first bunny I ever made of sewn anyway, and I got her out of the pattern out of Sew magazine, and I just used my own fabrics to make her. And yeah, like if I made her again, I'd probably do a better job. But yeah, I think that was my first stuffed toy that I made. My first of my bunnies, and this was probably my second one, and this one is probably my, well, if you don't include, well, I suppose my Luna rabbit, which she's not here at the moment, and this is my Mandy Shaw rabbit here. She's lovely, isn't she? And this is Hyacinth Chicken. I used to have a chicken called Hyacinth and she died, so I made this chicken. This is a Mandy Shaw design when Hyacinth died, and I embroidered Hyacinth's name on a wing. She stays out all the time. She goes on my dresser, which you often see over here, but yeah, she goes on my dresser. And so does this rabbit. She goes on my dresser all the time. Now, these 2 little people here, I didn't make these. This is Belle and this is Boo, and they're companions, and I used to read the books to my youngest son when he was younger, and I've got the craft books, but she's sitting in this. I thought I'd bring this down because it's quite, you know, spring-like, isn't it? And this was the other Freemotion thing I made recently, so I've got Boo in there at the moment. This is a crocheted egg topper I made. I used to subscribe to a magazine called, I think it's called Let's Get Crafting Knit and Crochet. So I made loads of things out of that magazine. I think these bunnies might have been out of that magazine, and I don't know, possibly the daisy chain. I can't quite remember now. Some of these things are quite old. Actually, these were out of that magazine. I think they even shared my photograph in their magazine, and I won a prize from the magazine for those eggs that I made. These eggs here were the first fabric eggs I ever made. I was so chuffed with them, and I made them out of old swim shorts of my husband's. So then there's these carrots. These are shop bought. I don't know if I've showed you those already. Now this is a wooden Happy Easter here, and I bought that from a garden centre called Knot Cuts that's quite near me. And is there anything else that I've missed? Oh yes, how could I miss these? This is my basket of bunnies by Mandy Shaw. That's the mummy bunny, she's got an apron on, and these are the little baby bunnies, and here are the fabric eggs all stuffed inside. And these are tins that, you know, usually when there's 3 or something, it's been because we've filled them with something for the boys. They might possibly be from my mum, those. I can't quite remember. Oh, and let's have a look here. This is Parsnip Bunny. Now, Parsnip Bunny, normally, she's crocheted. Oh, I can hear something behind me. Oh, it's the dog. It's okay, one of the chickens had come right up to the window and I think was staring her out. Yeah, so this is Parsnip Bunny. She's crocheted, but I made her a fabric dress and I knitted her a cardigan, and she normally carries a crochet parsnip, but it's gone missing. But I have seen it recently, but I don't know where it is now. So I really hope you've liked seeing my Easter decorations, things that I've bought and things I've made over the years. No doubt it's going to expand more, but you know, there's only so many things you need, isn't it? So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you when I film again. I nearly forgot this. Now this was a lovely gift sent to me from Katie, who I'm friends with on Facebook. We just each other through crafting, and Katie watches my channel, and Katie actually sent me this for my 40th birthday, and that's going to be hanging on my Easter tree today. But it's been hanging on here anyway, but it's going to be staying, but it might get moved to a different spot. We'll have to see. Some Easter crafts. It's starting to look a little bit better in here now. Here's the tree. The dress is looking a bit Easter looking. So I decided to do some more chalkboard art on my son's blackboard. If you look closely, you might still be able to see the happy 14th birthday Jack. I did have a bit of trouble getting it off, but I used a chalkboard paint. But I've just used chalk to write the happy Easter this time. I don't know if I'm going to use that paint again. Here's my 5 latest domes that I've been stitching, one every day. And here's just a little bit of calligraphy lettering I've been doing with a daffodil. This is something I was doing last night. My husband was watching something that I find a bit too violent, so I put my headphones on and I was just messing around with my son's felt tip pens. Playing with pens again. My husband's watching football, so I'm sitting on the bed and I'm just messing around with pens, gel pens, and just my son's felt tip pens. Bit more lettering with my son's felt tip pen. So I hope you like seeing that footage that I've taken over Easter. It kind of gives you a little bit of an insight to what it's like at my house. I do a lot of decorating. I do a lot of crafts that I try and get the children involved in. We do a lot with pens and paper and things. And yeah, and I doodle a lot in the evening. If I'm not doing lettering, I'm doodling little pictures and things, you know, because it's just something easy you can do if I'm not stitching or knitting or crocheting or something. So yes, I hope you like seeing those. Now you may have spotted on that video, since I last chatted with you, I've done some more domes. Now the one, you would have seen this one at the very end of my last video. It was just a still, because what happened is I stitched it and it was after I'd finished all my video, so I just put a little picture in, and it's this cockerel here. Now I had a lot of fun with this one because in Mandy's pattern there's no example of a few of them, and this is one of them included. So obviously being a chicken keeper, I thought, oh, I don't want to just, you know, do any old kind of chicken. And I thought, oh, I looked up colourful cockerel because I know you can get really colourful ones. So I kind of based this on an actual cockerel. You can get ones that are that colourful. So so I had a lot of fun like coming up with the colours for that one. And then you might have spotted this in the video. This is this, it's a springtime hop. Now on Mandy has stitched this one, and in her picture she's got this little flourish underneath, but the design that you get in the kit, it doesn't have that. It just has the bunny shape and it says spring hop, but this would be blank. But when I looked at Mandy's, she'd done like a little flourish, so I decided to do a little flourish as well, because I think it needed it, you know, with the bunny being there and the spring string there, I think it needed that bit underneath, so I decided to do what Mandy did, even though, like I say, it wasn't included. Now this isn't really Easter at all. I just think, oh, I've got another one in here that you wouldn't have seen actually. I don't think you'll have seen this one either. I've stitched this over the weekend and it's not Easter related, but it is one of the designs in the kit, and it's an actual strawberry. I don't think there's an example of that one on Mandy's either, but I just decided to do the strawberry red, the bits at the top green, the leaf green, the seed yellow, and there was a little flower here. Now I wasn't sure what kind of flower are on strawberry plants, so I just had a look. So I try to be a bit authentic sometimes, so I looked up strawberry plant and flowers, and they're white with yellow centres, so that's what I've gone with that, to try and be a bit authentic with it. And I have gone on and I've done another one. That might lead me, actually I'll show you that in a moment, so before, and then I can leave Easter kind of thing there, I think. So you may have seen my painted egg. I've got it here, and I had a lot of fun doing that. I just did like basically hundreds and thousands sprinkles on it, and did like a false calligraphy saying Easter egg on it. And Daisy, that chicken that you'd have seen in the video, she actually lays these blue eggs, so I didn't have to paint it the bluey green colour. Luckily it's very pretty colour anyway, so yeah, I had a little go at painting that, and I quite like doing that because you know, Easter eggs are around because it's a Christian thing. It's the sign of new life, and before chocolate eggs were around, this is what people used to do. They would paint chickens' eggs, so it's quite a traditional craft to do. Now you may be able to spot, I've got this really nice little plant pot that says eggs on it, and it actually is an egg cup, and I actually bought them for this Easter, and it came in a 2-pack. So I've got that one there, and it came with these little shovels to eat, so we've not actually used them yet, but I think they're lots of fun, and I think we're going to need more. It came in this nice little package actually, with all the flowers in it, so I got that off Amazon, and they gave me a leaflet. I think they were called Melamine, the company that was selling it, but yeah, it was really nice, a nice thing to do. So now, leading you to this, now I have had a couple of questions in the comments on my other videos, so I'm trying to answer them. So Megan, now Megan has got a YouTube. Is she Megan Handmade? She's something like, I found, me and Megan found each other. I think I found Megan when she was doing a sew a top challenge. It was a challenge that YouTubers were getting involved in. Unfortunately, I was too late and I got put on a reserve list, and it was the first challenge I actually put myself up for, and then the second challenge I did, it was a So Fearless, but I felt like it was a bit of a cop-out really, because I'm not really like I'm not really fearful of makes. I just see things as a challenge. So it was meant to be pushing yourself out your comfort zone and do something you were frightened of, where I didn't feel like there's anything I was frightened of, and I was planning on making this make anyway. So I kind of feel like I didn't do my first challenge properly. I think my frugal frock challenge was really my first like proper challenge. I was asked to do it. I got on it, which was nice, because I think if I hadn't been asked to do it, I would have missed that one as well, because I don't, even though I post on social media, I don't look on social media all that much really. I do look on it, but I miss things because there's so much going on. But yeah, so that frugal frock one, I feel like I really got involved properly, and I stuck to the brief, even though I didn't use a free pattern, but I kind of used like the help of a dollar pattern and a free bra pattern to kind of design my own, and I used fabric from my stash and things. So yeah, I think I managed to fit the brief. But Megan has asked me about my sewing suitcase, because I mentioned it in my last video, so I've got it here. Now I'm afraid to say my sewing suitcase, it is a little bit battered, look here, and it's broken. The handle came off, and it's actually, I've actually got some thread holding the handle on, so I could hold it by the handle, but it could go at any moment. So yeah, I don't know if my husband could fix it up for me, but I just tend to take this in the car, so if I ever get stuck, I've got something to stitch. I try and have something ready. And what I find really useful is those designs, that the transfers that Mandy sells, they disappear. So once you iron them on, they will over time disappear. So if you keep them somewhere dark, they seem to and not as airy, they seem to last a little bit longer. So this is how my suitcase is currently looking. Now this thing, you've probably seen it before. It's something I made, I don't know when, maybe last year I might have made this. And it's got wooden ends, look, and it's got a lot of my threads in it, look, lots of different colours. So these have been, that's why these are in here, because I've been sewing all these up, haven't I? So I've needed all my different colour threads, and some of them are not in here, a bit loose, right? And I've got some loose ones as well that I've not used yet. A few of those loose ones. I'll get these out actually. I've got some scissors in it. They're dressmaking shears, these rose gold things, but the reason I don't use them for dressmaking because they're not very comfortable. They make my hand ache actually, and so you know, and they're really stiff. But for just cutting a little thread, I find them okay. There's a plastic bag in there. That's probably what these came in, maybe from Mandy. They come in these plastic folders. Now there's a few bits of paper in here. Now these I probably need to take out. That's the year we stayed at home heart that I've already made. That's hanging in my porch, so I need to take that out really. That doesn't need to be in there anymore. And oh, that's the picture for the little domes I've been stitching. So there's only an example of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. There's some of them I haven't done off here actually yet, but what I will tell you is with the amount of little transfers you get with this pattern, you don't get enough domes to make them all. I'm just letting you know that, just in case you got it and you wanted to make every single picture and you're disappointed. So I'm going to leave that in my suitcase because I think I'm still working. I think I'm still working on them anyway. That was the last thing I was hand stitching, and I've got a January Secret Society newsletter in here, and that doesn't belong in here either. Actually, that's really useful. Do you know, recently I told you that Mel from Dandelion Designs contacted me, and I said that I shared a picture of her with the Secret Society. Well, it turns out I didn't share a picture of her because this is a picture of Mandy's team here. I've shared this with you before, but in here it actually says that Mel is a bit camera shy, but she's the resident cake and kit maker. So yeah, so Mel isn't in that picture because she's a bit camera shy. So I got that wrong, sorry. But yeah, I thought we had seen Mel because I would see Mandy's team picture. Now other things I've got in here is, oh, it's getting stuck, a tape measure, ribbon. Now this is the ribbon I've been using for the domes. The broken piece of my suitcase, 2 friction pens, a pencil, this pin cushion that I made. This is a Mandy Shaw design, and I've got a lot of my hand stitching needles and a few pins in there. And my latest dome. Now you won't have seen this anywhere because it wasn't in that video. I haven't shared this anywhere at the moment. And it's snowdrops. It actually says snowdrops, and then there's a little heart, and obviously it's not Easter themed. This is before Easter really, isn't it? So I did enjoy stitching it on. I think that would be nice on linen, do you know, like something a little bit darker, do you know, just so the white flowers stood out a little bit off the white. So yeah, maybe I'll stitch that up again in the future, but on something a little bit darker. And that's it. That's everything in my little suitcase. Now I have got more threads and things. You know, these aren't the only threads I've got for hand stitching, but yeah, that's just what I've got at the moment in there, because they're all things that are suitable for stitching those domes. So Megan, I hope you've liked seeing my suitcase that I take out in the car with me, and yeah, I take that around a lot of places actually, even say if we've got guests that I know are going to be here a long time, and I might not, the conversation might go to football or something I'm not interested, so I can just whip out the suitcase and start stitching away, can't I? So what am I going to talk about next? So I have had another question actually, and that's from Karen Shaw Jones, and she's been asking about beginner beginner hand embroidery and beginner Freemotion. Now how I got into Freemotion was more through Freemotion quilting. So I think I watched a YouTuber back in 2012. It might have been the Crafty Gemini. I love her, she's lovely. And she showed that you could drop on some machines, you can drop your feed dogs on your machine, and the feed dogs are things that pull your fabric through. So if you started to put your foot down on your pedal with fabric underneath, you're steering the fabric, aren't you? The machine is pulling the fabric through, you're just trying to steer it to keep it, you know, going nice and straight. Well, when you drop the feed dog, sorry Karen if you already know this, you might think I know this, but you know, there might be some people that don't. On some machines you can drop the feed dogs, and on some machines you can buy a plate that goes on top of the feed dogs. Now when I got into it, I had a very basic machine, you couldn't drop the feed dogs. I had to buy a little plastic plate that sit over the feed dogs, and I did it like that. Now I have heard of people using tape and things. I've never tried it myself, but that's an option. Now what you do, I think my husband's going out, he probably hasn't said bye because he probably can hear I'm doing this video, so you'll just hear the engine roaring up there. So yeah, what you do then, so you got to see it as being a pencil. So when you draw with a pencil, the paper stays still and you're drawing, aren't you? Well, with Freemotion embroidery, your needle can only stay in one place. All it can do is go up and down, so you're moving your fabric. So you're even moving your fabric like this because it's flat. Now I recommend, if you're using a flat piece of fabric, you maybe interface it, just make it a bit stiffer, or you can hoop it up to give it that stiffness, and you can kind of move your hoop around. So you're basically drawing. Now don't worry about stitch length. People are hung up on what stitch length, because some machines you can alter the stitch length and some you can't. The machine I started on, you couldn't alter the stitch length. Anyway, I don't even worry about the stitch length because the feed dogs aren't pulling it through anyway, so don't worry about that. If you've got a speed on your machine, now some machines do, you can find what you find comfortable, put it maybe midway, maybe just to be on the safe side, and you basically just have a go. Now what I would recommend is, if you've seen my Freemotion embroidery, I wouldn't go for something like that. I would basically maybe hoop up some fabric and just squiggle, basically try and do a square, do your name, you know, just do random, think of things that you could, if you got a pencil on paper, try and do those, and then maybe stick some fabric, some basic shapes onto it, and just try and stitch it round the edge, maybe a bit more like, do you like this stocking? See that these are circles. Maybe if you put some fabric on, try stitching around that edge. I think that's how you should start off with Freemotion embroidery. Obviously I've gone up and down and things here, but this kind of comes after, and writing and things. Stick to shapes, following so have a go at you know, doing your name, have a go at just doodling, and then try just sticking a square piece of fabric, a rectangle, a circle, a heart, and try just going round the edge of that. And that's how it all begins. And sometimes, you know, your results aren't going to be very nice. My first completed project was a fairy, and she had like eyes and a mouth and things, and she looked a bit shocking, really. I might have shown you on this video before, her face looked a bit shocking, but you know, you just get better over time, and that's what happens. Now, regarding getting into, say, red work embroidery, I think maybe buy a kit from Mandy, a beginner kit or a book. Mandy has got a book called Stitched with Love. I think that's not her very first book, but one of her early red work books, Stitched with Love, and it would give you a few good pointers. But I think that's how I started. I bought that book. I think I was following Mandy probably about 10 years, probably before I even bothered doing any red work, probably. I can't quite remember, but yeah, just maybe buy a needle you need. A chenille 24 is a good needle. If you buy cotton or broder, you don't have to split your threads. If you know, get a kit from Mandy or something, then you know, you'd have to still buy your needle, but sometimes she does like a beginner kit, but you could just buy a really basic thing, you know, and just have a go at stitching it. The first thing I ever did red work is I bought a mason cash jar, and it was one that the lid came out of. I got a design out of that Celebrate with a Stitch, and I think I traced it onto a piece of fabric because I could see it would fit that mason cash jar perfectly. Now, I didn't know, because I used the embroidery thread, and embroidery thread had 6 strands, and I actually used all 6 strands, and it was really, really thick. But you know what, you all have to start somewhere. So what I know now, if I was using embroidery thread for that design, I'd probably use 3 strands of embroidery floss, not 6. Do you know what I'm saying? So you know, I hope those are a few good pointers to kind of get you beginning with that. If you've got any more questions, Karen, I'm happy to answer them. So if there's anything more you wanted to know that I didn't answer, but I hope you got some use out of that. Right, what am I going to talk about now? So maybe poppy projects. Now, you saw last week that I'd finished the embroidery, but I hadn't cut it down and mounted it and things, so you might have seen this on social media, but I've framed it now. So yeah, so it's just got to go up, but so I haven't got my husband to put it up because I wanted to show you it all. So it's got the mount on now, and it's all in the frame. So there, maybe I'll put a photograph on. It would glare a little bit on here. What I did to take the photograph is I put it in without the glass, because whatever I did, that I was getting glare. So but I wanted the glass on it because I just think it's going to offer a bit of protection, you know, from getting dust and damage. It's going to be somewhere dark, so it's not going to be getting sunlight on it, where it's going to be going in the garden room, in the toilet, so it's going to go behind the toilet, so maybe the guys that use the toilet will see it more, but it's going to go in there. And my husband, he really likes it and he's happy to have it in there, so I'm really pleased. But as you may know, that was the project we did in Poppy's Club last week, and I did put my own spin on it. If you want to know more about that, check out my last video. But we've got a new project now. This week's project, now I didn't have any spoilers to show you, and it was a total surprise to me, because even though I've got a kit and the label saying what it's going to be, we don't have a photograph, so we don't know what it's going to look like. And we have a materials list thing. So that's what we would have needed for this week's project, and that's what we're going to need for next week. And I didn't even look at the title, so it was a total surprise to me Saturday morning. And it's called the Favourite Flowers Panelled Cushion. So those are the supplies you needed, and I'll pop a photograph of Poppy's cushion. Now it's absolutely gorgeous, so hopefully that's coming up now. I know I've saved Poppy's photographs, and it's really nice, isn't it? So people were basically in the Facebook group, people post, they make them straight away before Saturday is out. There's loads of these projects all on the private Facebook group that we're in, but you know, I had Easter going on. I must admit, during school holidays, I don't usually sew as much. There was times when my boys were young, I wouldn't sew at all in school holidays. I would just think, this time is all about spending time with them, and also when they go back to school. That was my mentality. But because my boys are teens, they do like to do their own thing at times, so I do get a little bit of time to sew now during the holidays, which is nice. So that's why I can, I suppose, continue to do this. So yesterday I started sticking the bits on. Now today is Wednesday and it's 20 to 2. Right, so I'm a bit late starting to film because obviously this has got to be ready for Friday, this video, but with Easter and things going on, and we've had a funeral as well to go to yesterday. So yeah, so yesterday afternoon I did manage to get in here, and I trimmed up the pieces of fabric that came in this kit. Actually, I don't know if any other, I think there are some other people in the Poppy Club that do watch my channel actually. My fabric piece was wonky. Now I didn't really want to stitch it on. The grain would have been wonky, so I've had to trim it up, which means it's going to be smaller now. It's smaller than the fabric piece required, but I have managed to fit all my pieces on. But I don't know how it's going to work out now when I construct the cushion, because the cushion, it's not a square cushion, it's got sides, and I've already bought the insert, so I'll just see what happens. So far I've stuck all my pieces on, and here it is. Now you may think, what are these big things here? Now these are bees. Now somebody in the Poppy group, it might have been 1 or 2 people, they'd put these lovely little buzzy bumblebees that are like Poppy's bumblebees on theirs, and it looked absolutely delightful. And I did say to the lady, I really love your cushion, I think I'm going to add some bees to mine, because I like yours, kind of thing. Because you know, I like to, you know, if I've got the idea from somebody else, I do like to give them some recognition. I don't like to try and make out it's my own idea, kind of thing. And then if it's my own, you know, I'm more likely to say. But yeah, so she'd done some bees, but her buzzy bees are a bit smaller than mine. I've done them and they look really big, they do. So obviously these bees will have faces and stripes and things, but obviously I've not done any of the stitching yet, but that is what it's looking like so far. So you're going to get to see, a bit like last week, hopefully I'm going to get this done before Friday, so maybe my video might not be up Friday morning, it might be later on, I'm not sure yet. So if I can do it, I'll try and get my video up ready for Friday morning, but please forgive me if it goes up later in the day. Maybe I wanted to get something finished or something, so as long as it's up there for Friday, that's all well and good, isn't it? So yes, that's what I'm working on this week on the Poppy project. That's week 5, which is quite funny actually, because when I started doing these Friday sews is when the Poppy project started, and so there's only 1 week left after this week, and I can tell you it's a beside the seaside beach bag, but I've made a promise to myself, I'm going to continue doing regular Freemotion. But if I go by what happened last Christmas, once I come out of the embroidery club, I just didn't do anything till about a week before this club started. But I'm not saying I never do any Freemotion when the clubs aren't on, I do, but between Christmas and this club, I just didn't do anything. So that is going on now. I was really hoping to bring you some dressmaking. So obviously last week you did see a little bit of dressmaking because you got to see my frugal frock, didn't you? But that's something I'd made earlier in the month, and I think the week before you might have seen, you got to see my So Yellow for Endo jumper that I'd not shared on Instagram before, but that wasn't a recent thing, but it was just because of sharing a yellow make. And the week before that, it was my cozy jacket that I'd done in that bright pink fabric, but that's the actual last dressmaking thing I've made. So yeah, I really need to do a little bit of dressmaking, so I don't want to disappoint you dressmakers. Now you know, maybe there will be some dressmaking in this video because it's only Wednesday. There might be, I don't know. So maybe I need to get, what the plan is, I try and get my poppy thing out the way and done with, and then if there's time to spare, maybe do some dressmaking. But because of Easter and having the children and doing Easter crafts with the children and things, and trying to do some last minute Easter things, it hasn't happened. So yeah, we'll just see what happens. But yeah, dressmaking will be back, I promise, because I absolutely love it. But yeah, it's just been one of those times. The projects that I've actually been making, they've been quite big ones, haven't they? Like a jacket. The one before that, I think, was a jacket, wasn't it? That was quite a bit, you know, more involved make, because it was the Amelia jacket, wasn't it? So then the Cozy Colours was the last, and the Amelia jacket. The Wilder gown, that was a bit more of an involved one, wasn't it? And then yeah, so I've had quite a few involved woven dressmaking makes, haven't I, really, recently. And then obviously I was designing the dress, so I've actually been doing a lot this year with dressmaking. It's just more recently I haven't got a lot to show you, so I'm really sorry about that. And my desk is an absolute mess, it is. So the desk in there is covered in my Easter tree and Easter things, and in here it's just covered in stuff I'm showing you on my videos and Freemotion and things. So yeah, trying to plan dressmaking things at the moment is a little bit difficult. So when I've cleared away Easter and things and the Poppy Club is over, I'll probably have a bit more space to do things. So I think is that all I want to show you. So yeah, so ongoing, the next thing I'm going to be sewing is definitely this. So and that's all I know at the moment. I don't know what I'm going to be doing this evening. No doubt I'll be doing some more lettering. Like, I've got this here actually. I'm always doodling away. This is like, sometimes it's just post-it notes, look, and I'm just drawing away on things. So sometimes I'm doing false calligraphy, or just, yeah, I'm very much in the moment kind of person. So yeah, so it's just what's next kind of thing. So thank you for joining me so far. As I say, this is Wednesday, so there's still more time in the week to show you some more Friday sews, and I'll see you in the next bit. Welcome back to the final part of Friday Sews. Now, I've seen how much video I've got so far, so I'm going to try and hurry this along, but lots has been going on actually since I last filmed. So I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I've been a mentor for somebody in their quilting journey, and it's for a lovely lady called Maria. Now, we met each other through having the Sew Hayley Jane boxes. The first month, basically, Hayley did a thing called InstaWatch. She doesn't call it InstaWatch now, she calls it something else. It's got a new name now, but the first month she did it, my photograph was in there, and also was Maria, because we'd used the fabric from the month before, shared our make, and then Hayley saw them and put them in the magazine, and that was lovely, and that's how we become friends. Now, Maria is a dressmaker, and I'm a patchwork quilter, gone dressmaker kind of thing. I was doing more of all other kinds of sewing more than I was dressmaking, but slowly over time dressmaking has become like a big thing for me. As you might have noticed if you've been watching my channel earlier on, you probably wouldn't have seen much dressmaking, but there's a lot more going on now. So yeah, and that's I've probably been posting more regular the last couple of years, really. So dressmaking probably has exploded for me really this last couple of years. It's just dribs and drabs over the years, and then just increased more and more garments each year. Anyway, I'm going off on one. So I volunteered through a Janome thing to be somebody's mentor. So I put an advert out, and I said basically the first person that gets back to me you know, I'll be their mentor. And Maria was the first one to get back to me. Now, Maria doesn't live locally. Maria lives in Wales, and we can only do it online. So we've been mainly chatting through Instagram and sending photographs back and forth, mainly doing it like that. But yesterday, I think it was yesterday, yeah, I think so. I think it was yesterday evening. We got invited by Jenny Smith. I think she does a bit with Liberty now. She's got a book now, her first book, and she's like I think she's into dressmaking and patchwork and quilting, but I think she's gone more dressmaker, gone more patchwork and quilting route, the opposite to me. Not saying I've gone away from patchwork and quilting, but you know what I'm saying. So basically she invited us to a Zoom meeting. So I didn't realise it was going on because I've kind of been ignoring my emails a little bit, I'm afraid to say, but I've got about 700 and something. But Maria told me about it. So and when I got on there, I couldn't see Maria. Do you know when you're looking at all the little boxes on Zoom and the names, I was thinking I can't see Maria, but she did come on eventually, and it lasted about an hour. But it was just just people talking about, you know, the mentoring and things. Maria and I didn't speak out loud to everybody, we just kind of took it all in, but we did speak a little bit privately to each other. But we've agreed we're going to try and arrange at some point between our schedules to try and do a private Zoom and have a little chat that way. So so that was nice. So that's been going on, and then after that, so that was 5 till 6. There's never a dull moment, and I'd already had dinner. And then we went, oh, that was it. We had fish and chips. It was really nice. The day I'd framed all my coastal picture, my husband said, do you want some fish and chips from the chip shop? I said, oh, yes, please. So it was really nice, you know, because we're not going to seaside holiday. So it was nice to have some fish and chips. So I'd had that at least, because this Zoom thing lasted an hour. Poor Maria was starving because she hadn't eaten yet. So anyway, so then it was like Emmerdale. Then at 7 till 7:30, then I took part in an Instagram live, not through my Instagram. I attended somebody else's, and it was a collaboration between Fat Face, the clothing brand, and the Modern Calligraphy company, and they were doing a thing together, and it was doing some like lettering. So I thought, I'm going to do this. So it was quite good because that went on for an hour. So it gave my husband an hour to watch the final of this violent thing that Gangs of London or something I didn't really want to watch. I've seen bits of it while he's been watching it, and it's just not my thing really. I think the bits in between I probably could have been alright, but it's a bit too gory. But the only trouble is, when you're in the room, even with headphones, you seem to don't get all the mediocre bits, but you see all the gory things. So but I think sometimes I've been masked from it a little bit. But I basically had headphones on, and I just did some like lettering for an hour. So I haven't got those with me, but I did take a photo because I said, please share what you've done with us. So I posted it on Instagram, and it would have gone to Facebook. So I'll pop that on the screen now. So that was some of the lettering. I can't even remember what I did now, but I remember I was quite proud of it at the time. You know, I'm doing more calligraphy now with like different kind of things, because I was always a ink girl, but I'm starting to venture out into all kinds of mediums. Yes, it's quite good fun. But I'd purchased a workshop for my children this morning, a Zoom, right? I don't know what I was thinking actually, and that was going to last, I thought it was an hour, but it ended up being 2 hours, and it was 10 till 12, and that was like a lettering kind of thing for children, and forgetting that I've got 3 teenage boys, and because it's the holidays, they're not really getting up till about lunchtime. Wow, so it was quite embarrassing, and it was Zoom, so they know who's there, and you had to introduce yourself, who had booked it, and your children, and I had to explain that yes, none of my children have turned up, basically, that, you know, they're teenagers and they're still in bed. So I just took part instead, but I did quite enjoy it, which was nice. But thing is, whatever I do, I can show them. So I'm going to, what I'll do is I have taken photographs. I hope you don't mind seeing this because I know this is Friday sews. I will be getting to some sewing, I promise. Actually, I've got footage of me doing Freemotion if you're interested in that. I'll try and put that in this video. So I've got what I did actually this morning, but I'll pop the photographs on the screen. So to start with, we did some capital letters with a brush felt tip, so a felt tip pen that works like a brush, and we worked on the capital letters. So that's what we did first. Oh no, to start with, we worked on doing thick and thin lines and things. Then we moved on to this, but I haven't got a photo of doing the thick and thin lines. Then we moved on to using watercolour felt tips, basically. Well, they're pens, but they've got watercolour in them, and the nib is like a brush style. So then we worked on the small letters. We was working through the alphabet, so I did manage to get all of those done. I didn't manage to get the capital letters done. I think she worked a bit quicker, the lady doing it. Then we had to work on a template, and she wanted us to basically use the watercolour pens again, but joining up the letters. So that the next one was, it said thanks and made by me, and I just chose to do it in blue and yellow. Like with all those letters that you've seen previously, she didn't say to do them colourful. I think that's why it took me longer, because everybody was using the same colour, but I wanted to do it colourful because you know what I'm like, I go a bit OTT with things. Then she wanted us to do joined using the watercolour pens again, brush pens, basically going freestyle. She wanted us to draw thanks and join it up, not using a template, you know, just do it, you know, on your own and things. Then she wanted us to write the word love, but we're not joining it up, which hopefully you're seeing that. Then she wanted us to rewrite love and then join it up. So those are my efforts doing that freehand. Then she wanted us to write our names, but she wanted us to do some colour blending. So I wrote my name doing this style of colour blending she wanted us to do. It was basically rubbing the colour on a darker colour onto a lighter colour, and then I ended up going over it with a bit of water, a water brush actually. That's why it looks a bit splodgy looking in places. Then we had to do some more colour blending, but this way what she wanted you to do is do it in one colour, then it would still be wet, and then you go back over it. Now I don't know if I took a photograph of this one, but because I was working in the conservatory and it's 11 degrees today, I was absolutely baking. So when I had done my line of writing, it had totally dried. Before I went back to do the blending colour, it had totally dried, and I did, luckily, because it's Zoom, you can talk back to them. And she said, right, she said, because it's so warm. Everyone was pretty jealous actually, because I was there in this, but I was wearing my husband's hat. That's how sunny it was, right? Because I did it in there in the conservatory. And so she said to me, do one letter at a time. I don't think my writing then came out as nice because I was having to do one letter at a time, then do my colour bits, and then at the end we got to do a little bit of decorating. Now she was using this gel pen and it was a lot better than mine, but I just did with what, you know, what works. And it is quite nice. So you probably can't see it here, but in the sun it shimmers, and I'm quite proud of this actually. I might even put a photograph of that on social media. So and then I was just messing around. She did write a H and an A, but I don't know what she was doing. I wasn't paying attention, I don't think, but I just got my water pen and it started to bleed in together, which is really nice. And then the final thing we were meant to be doing happy birthday, but I think we ran out of time. So then we worked on this, and it's basically a card, so that's why it's like that. I've just got to fold it. I'll put a photograph on it for you actually. It was basically, you printed it out we didn't do all that colour. The colour was on there, and then there was a white area for the writing. Then we had to draw "Spring has sprung" in black writing, but she said you'll still see the white coming through. And then she wanted us to decorate them with like little zigzags with a gel pen. So that was a lot of fun. So I hope you don't mind seeing that. You know, I do, there's a lot of things I do, and I don't always post it on social media and things, but I think as long as people don't mind, because probably a lot of people do follow me for sewing, but I do post knitting and crocheting things, so I hope people don't mind. If I do maybe I'll do something really nice in lettering that looks quite arty, you know, good enough to put in a frame, maybe I'll share it on Instagram and things. So I hope people don't mind if I do that, because I am doing an awful lot of it actually. And my youngest son has been getting involved. I'll put some photographs of him. He was doing a little workshop. Now this one was better for him because it was a pre-recorded one, so he didn't have to turn up for it. I think because the thing with children, they're mood driven, aren't they? You know, you have to catch them when they feel like doing something sometimes, don't you? So the live things don't always work out too well, do they, with children? Anyway, right, before I show you my finished cushion, I'm going to show you a bit of footage of, have I got any other footage? Just of the Freemotion. I might have whittled it down a little bit because maybe it's too much, because I can see this is 13 minutes. So I'll show you that footage now and then I'll be back. Right, now I'm going to show you a little bit of footage. I filmed this for the group because Poppy told us to finish our cushion if you've got an overlocker to overlock the edges, or if you haven't, just leave it. But in all honesty, I've got all art supplies all over my chair in front of my overlocker, and I couldn't be bothered to get it out, so I decided to do French seams on my cushion. So I'm going to show you that footage that I filmed for the group now. Hello ladies, I just thought I'd show you the inside of my cushion. I've just finished constructing it, and I just wanted to show you another option if you haven't made yours already. I've decided to do French seams on mine, so it just means this is the inside of my cushion, and it means the seams are all enclosed. I'll just flip it over, so if you have a look here, there's no raw edges here or here and here and here. And how I've done that is, when I've constructed this, I've laid the pieces wrong sides together rather than right sides together and stitched them 1/4 of an inch. I've trimmed them down by about half, then I've flipped them right sides together and then stitched them 1/4 of an inch again, and then you get this enclosed seam. So I'll show you my cushion from the outside. I haven't even seen it myself yet. Right, I've turned that the right side out and I've given it a rough press. I haven't gone too crazy. And this is what it's looking like from the outside. I'll probably give it another eye actually, looking at it now on film. And I've given just a little extra line of stitching down here and here in yellow, just to add a little something. So now all I've got to do is probably repress it a little bit more, and hopefully the cushion is going to fit, because unfortunately mine is smaller than it was supposed to be, because the fabric that arrived, it was wonky, and I had to straighten it up, which made this a bit smaller, so which meant I had to make this smaller. So fingers crossed my cushion fits. Yay, it fits. I'm over the moon with it. I do think my beads look a little bit out of proportion. They look a bit big for the bars, but never mind. I'm still delighted with it. Thanks for watching. Right, I hope you like seeing that. So, and hopefully you'll have seen my cushion, because I filmed it for the group, and I've got it here, and I've only literally just done that. So that footage that you've just seen me talking about the French seams, I've only literally just done that and filmed my cushion, and here it is. Here is my finished cushion. So I hope you like seeing it. So I'll show you what Poppy's cushion looked like. So you'll see I tinkered a little bit with it. I'll put it here. Poppy, you know, I did what Poppy did on this cushion, and then I just added bees, because a couple of other people I saw in the group had added bees. Mine do look a bit big compared to the other bees I've seen in the group, but you know, I don't think my proportions are very good really, but I have a go anyway. But I'm absolutely delighted with it. I'm absolutely gutted actually. It's week 5 of a Poppy to Fry club, and we've got one more week, a beach bag, but I'm going to still continue bringing Freemotion. I think I really love it, but I've got to do some dressmaking. So thank you so much for joining me again for Friday Sews. I hope you don't mind seeing the other bits and bobs I've been getting up to that are not to do with sewing. If you're a regular viewer of my channel, before I started this Friday Sews, you'll know that you know, sewing is my main craft, but I do other crafts as well, and I just like to share my crafty life. So I hope you don't mind seeing that kind of thing as well. And if you're interested in modern calligraphy, there's quite a few companies out. I really like the Modern Calligraphy company, but there are some other ones. I will admit, I signed up to a free webinar with an American lady, a calligraphy lady, recently. Said, oh, this free webinar, I think it came up on Instagram, and I watched it, and it actually, there was loads of times, it said it started at 7 in the morning. I watched it, and it was just basically a bit of a hard sell, and we're trying to sell you her workshop. I think it was like $400 and something. I don't even know what that is in English. I'm not saying it's not worth it, but I've been doing like calligraphy, you know, since childhood, and I know, and I've dabbled in modern calligraphy here and there, and I've done a lot recently. So I don't feel like I need like a big spend or anything. I just like a bit of inspiration and things really here and there to, you know, seasonal things and stuff. So, but since then I've been absolutely bombarded with emails from this company, and I didn't see any calligraphy at all in the workshop. It was all of the hard sell about, you know, they're doing this calligraphy and I might end up having a big business at the end of it, you know, kind of thing. So yeah, do watch out for that actually, you know, so if you're interested in that kind of thing. But my recommendation, if you wanted to get into it, is maybe just get a book, a beginner calligraphy book, and it will give you a few pointers on things you need and things. So so yeah, so I hope you've liked seeing the sewing I've actually brought you today, and hopefully I'll be back next Friday with another Friday sews. I don't know what's going to happen going forward, because I know I've had something sewing to show you at least I know I sew every week, but I know I'm going to guarantee I've had something every week because I've been doing the poppy things. So yeah, I'll see. I'm sure I'll be doing another one the week after the poppy thing ends. It's not the only reason I've been doing it, kind of thing. But yeah, I'm going to try and keep up with Friday sews, but hopefully you don't mind, for the Friday sew people that visit me, you don't mind a few other crafts thrown in here and there. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next week. Bye.